twice a year, but we will not take any random paper for the publication. So it's serves as a scholarly platform for shaping and informing the academic dialogue surrounding both practical and theoretical aspects of operations management. So it focuses mainly on OM discipline, and this journal is a value for publishing multidisciplinary research. But the core theme will be between operations and supply chain management. So it encompasses a range of management themes. So that includes your theoretical and practical aspects of operations management, supply chain management, quality management, and all related areas. A particular focus is placed on the emerging economies, but ultimately this journal's goal is to establish a balanced platform where both academic research and practical applications are given equal prominence. So we encourage submissions that offer forward-thinking perspective and provide the kind of future insights into the field of operations management. While one important point here is we are committed to promoting research that emphasizes sustainability and ethical practices in operations management. So we encourage contribution that explore how operations can be made more efficient, sustainable, and contributing to a better future for all. So, as I already told, that now we are new, but upholding the highest standard of academic integrity and research quality is at the core of our journal's philosophy. So, we adhere to a rigorous peer review process to ensure that all published articles meet the highest standard of scholarly excellence. So, as Professor Natarajan asked about sharing details of peer review process, I'm sharing those in very brief. We adhere to ensuring, as I already tell, that highest standards of academic rigor. So initial submission happens. Authors should look into as the previous speaker has already talked about it, the scope of the journal. What kind of paper do we accept, right? So your paper title, your abstract, or your objective should match with the scope of our journal. Uh, and once it is decided, you can go through the guidelines that what all are the submission guidelines for authors are there, and you can submit the paper. Editorial, the first step is the editorial check. But what I look mostly into review, the abstract and the introduction at the most, it should clearly state the problem statement. So my take to write introduction to all the young researcher, you should divide your introduction into four basic sections. The first section should tell what we know. The second section should tell what we do not know. The third section may be of why should we care to know the unknown. And the fourth section you can tell about what should be the appropriate methodology for the same. So I'm not saying that in every paper you should follow all the same, but these four things should ideally be there in the introduction. So it's quite easy to write what we know, but it takes a bit of time to elaborate on what we do not know. So this requires an extensive literature review. But if you do that, you will be having the research cap, problem statement, and probably the research questions at your end. So I would suggest you to follow this structure to design your introduction, and would suggest to begin introduction with an engaging statement or question that piques interest. This could be a surprising statistics or a provocative question related to topic. As I already talked, we'll have to write what we know. So you in that you can provide a brief background that introduce the broader topic. This should give context to the problem or a research question and explain why it is important. Clearly state the problem or research gap your study intend to address. So this should be specific and justify the need for your future research. Also, it should outline the main objective of your research, the research questions that you are going to answer. So they should be clear, focused, and direct related to the problem statement. The another part I talked about, why should we care to know the unknown? So briefly discuss the importance of your research here. Explain how it is going to contribute to the field, which addresses a significant gap or has some practical implication. Similarly, for the literature review section, though I'm having, I'll take a couple of minutes only. So define the scope of your review and organize it either thematically or methodologically or chronologically, whatever way. uh, to give a clear structure, and summarize and synthesize the existing research, discuss major findings, noting agreements, disagreements in the literature, clearly connect the literature review to your research question and the hypothesis that you have designed. Show how your study is going to address gaps, and will add the new insights in the field of your own study. So both the introduction and literature review are crucial for establishing the context and foundation of your research. They should guide the reader through existing knowledge, identifying the gap your study addresses, and set the stage for your methodology and findings. So ideally, if the introduction has those four elements that I talked about, and literature is written in a good way, 90% of the manuscript pass the initial editorial check and move to the other stage, which is assignment to the peer review process. So peer review process for our journal is quite same for which is there for all other journals. We assign the manuscripts to two or three reviewers, and they give you the constructive feedback. Right, majorly there are four decisions that all the journal follow, whether it will be accept, or major revision, minor revision, or reject. So finally my job is to synthesize all the feedback that has come from the reviewers, and then ask the authors to revise it in line with the suggestions that has come. And if you do that, probably your manuscript will go through and will get the publication status. uh, our commitment is that we are deeply committed to maintaining the integrity and quality of scholarly research. Our peer review process is central to this commitment, ensuring that each published article contributes valuable insight to the field of operation management. Also, we strive to make the review process as efficient as possible, understanding the importance of timely feedback to authors. Right. So this is what I wanted to say in those initial 5-10 minutes. Probably I'll talk more in a Q&A session. So thank you, Professor Natarajan. This is from my side.
Thank you, Rohit, for your very valuable insights. So moving on, I'm going to ask Dr. Sahana Roy Chaudhary to share her thoughts on about the journal and also some of the things that you can do to become a better researcher and a better publisher in these type of journals. Now, Dr. Roy Chaudhary is a faculty of economics at International Management Institute, and she is the editor-in-chief of Studies in Microeconomics, and her research expertise is in the area of macro fiscal issues, economic policy, development economics, and international trade. And one good thing about our panel is that all disciplines are represented, at least the major disciplines are represented. So you've got marketing, we have got information systems, information technology, and then also economics, and also finance. So let's take advantage of this, diversity in the panel. Okay, so Dr. Roy Chaudhary.
Good afternoon, all of you. Thank you, Professor Natarajan, for introducing me and my journal. And also thank you to the organizers for this wonderful knowledge exchange forum. So I am the editor-in-chief of Studies in Microeconomics, which publishes primarily in the domain of microeconomics, but not really restricted to the theory and empirics of microeconomics. So as Professor Natarajan has mentioned, let me quickly tell something about the purview and the overview of this journal. So basically, we publish consumers' rational choices to talk about microeconomic behavior, choices under uncertainty, game theoretic and behavioral economics aspect of it. So we in particular promote research from young scholars, maybe finding the PhD students who are finding good outlets for their new upcoming thoughts and research in some new domain maybe. So basically promote in particular MIC, we talk about it's SAGE publications, it's Scopus indexed, REPIC indexed, and ABDC indexed. and also UGC Care Index. So as SAGE has given the short name MIC, I'll take MIC as the proxy for studies in microeconomics. So basically we promote research from the field work or lab-based experiments. In particular, we quite a number of times we have come up with experimental economics as a special issue for this journal, where we take care of this fact that many behavioral aspects may not be captured through primary surveys, field-based experiments, which can be captured through experiments, lab-based experiments. So it can be this MIC can be a very good outlet for the kind of research that does come up with experiments, experimental research. So secondly, we do publish finance research, which has a microeconomic behavioral aspect underlying. Secondly, very importantly, we do publish both theoretical and empirical work, taking note of the fact that in many cases, especially in the emerging domains of economics literature, I can talk about economics literature, there are fundamentals in theoretical aspects of looking into the fundamentals are crucially important, which are later on tested empirically whenever data is available. To take quite a few examples, for example, in the voting mechanism, we talk about fast past the post, how good is that mechanism? So in one of the public top cited publications, this theoretical paper was highly cited, which talks about what can be the flaws in majority-based voting, but it is 100% theoretical. So second thing is we do have a section for practitioners, which is policy analysis and debate, which has been brought not very recently, 3-4 years back, which is a kind of outlet for the ones who are working with in policy firms, in think tanks, which has underlying fundamentals related to microeconomic behavior. To give one example, the largest port in India is the Navsheba port. So where it was estimated using huge data, micro-level data, which got cited in WTO also. The paper which we published in policy analysis and debate section comes up with estimating the economic cost because of time delays. So this has major policy implications at a time. We understand a short time phase is on deglobalization, which Professor Natarajan has correctly pointed out. It is kind of, a passing phase, which I also completely believe in. If that is so, then measuring some research work that tries to estimate the economic cost because of time delays, customs and other operations are really, really of great importance. So we accommodated that paper in our policy analysis and debate section. We do have sections which talk about expository notes, the kind of theoretical or empirical rigor based on methodology, new upcoming methodologies, maybe if a researcher is coming up with this. So we have accommodated in our expository notes section. Now, let me highlight as the editor-in-chief a little bit on the aspects, the reasons behind desk rejection. First and foremost, what I look in my personal experience is that the researchers do not really they are in hurry many of the time to come up with quick publications. For that may be one of the reasons. They do not try to understand the scope of the journal. To give example, in my case, in my journal, there's a thin line between microeconomic behavior, for example, FDI, the foreign institutional inflows of foreign direct investment, what impact it has on exchange rate, maybe direct or indirect, or maybe the GDP growth. It's completely under the purview of macroeconomics, broader perspective. Whereas how FII, the institutional investor, is thinking from his behavioral point of view as an investor, should I invest in this domain? These are the aspects, these are the purviews, these are the scopes. So it's a completely micro behavior. So we will accommodate that kind of research. So most of the desk research that I do as EIC really do not, because this doesn't really fit with the scope of the journal. So one has to really understand the thin line and then look into that. Otherwise, it's a waste of time from both ends. Secondly, the methodological rigor. If someone is applying a method which is old enough, newer methods in that particular niche area has been developed. So, and the literature talks about that, then we do not really take those papers for review process. So having said so, I would like to highlight, underscore this, that for the young researchers, there is a lot of scope in this journal, because this caters to the microeconomic behavior finance related to microeconomics and development economics, HR issues, gender issues, green bonds, SDG related issues. So in some or other sense, the scope is wide enough, so long as it talks about, the paper talks about the microeconomic behavior. It's a young journal, I can say. On the completion of 10 years this year for the journal, the SAGE has approved our proposal of making it triannual. So it's a triannual right now. And we do take papers in these three broad areas: policy analysis and debate, and theoretical, empirical work, and expository notes. And we do come up with special issues with specific areas. For example, next year we will be having two special issues. One is conference-based. I do get a lot of requests that these are the domains of discussions in our conference, and these are the papers that we have received. So does it really fit? So if it fits with the journal scope, we bring out this conference-based publication, or it is theme-based. Neural network, 3 years back, we did come up with this special issue, so which was an upcoming area, which is an upcoming area, and you can understand it is not really confined to economics, finance as well, behavioral finance as well. So it is in some sense interdisciplinary, though it is broadly under the scope of economics. So that's all from my end. Thank you so much.
All right. Our next presenter is Dr. Satish Kumar. Dr. Satish Kumar is Professor of Finance and Accounting Area and Chairperson of the PhD program at IIM Nagpur. He has over 20 years of teaching and research experience at management institutes, of repute in India and also overseas. So, Dr. Satish Kumar.
A very good afternoon to all of you. Thank you, Professor Natarajan, for briefly introducing me. And thank you, ISDSI team, for having me part of this session, which is publishing in top tier journal. What are the reflections from editor point of view, and what are the few tips which can be useful for early career scholar. So I represent International Review of Financial Analysis, which is ABS3 and ABDCA category journal. Second journal where I'm associated with almost 4 years now is Electronic Commerce Research, which is again ABDCA, ABS2 journal. Couple of other A journal where I'm associated with only for a specific section, that is considering literature review paper. That is International Journal of Logistics Management, which is ABS1 and ABDCA. Journal of Consumer Behavior, which is ABDCA and ABS2. And almost 7 or 8 years I'm associated with qualitative research in financial market, which is ABS1 and ABDCB journal. Now, editorial philosophy of every journal is almost revolves around same idea. And as earlier, editors and editor-chief and associate editor has mentioned, what we look as an associate editor is that to start with whether really paper fits into the scope of the journal or not. So my advice for early career scholar is, and the statistics say that, in ACAR journal, specifically 70 to 80% paper got desk rejected. And the joy is not getting that rejection. In fact, it is a moment of depression, and it's a very sad to send a decision when you send a reject letter. editor is always equally happy when they send an accept letter to, the author. So stories same way when we send a reject letter. So it's most of the time what I have observed in last 8 or 9 years of actively involved in some of the journal is that what happened most of the time, we prepare manuscript and then we think of that where this paper should go. Right. It's like, any company has made the product and then they start thinking of where we should, segment it. Similar is the story with with early career researcher. What they do is that they first prepare paper, they put their energy in preparing paper, never paying attention to that, what will be the target of this particular paper which I'm writing. So that is the major reason that, you get straight away this type of rejection letter with the standard phrase out of the scope. We do not publish this type of paper. So one lesson which I try to send along with the rejection letter is that, when at the time of preparing manuscript, please look at where you will be positioning it. Right. What I do when I started my career, and start writing, I used to have a wish list of 5 journals where I will be positioning that paper irrespective of the area which we are talking. So I'm not sure that whether that paper will be get in or out in those 5 journals, but that's what I know, that this paper should be there. We see product also failed. Similarly, is that as an author we may also feel failure. No worry, then extend your list to 6th or 7th. But I'm sure if you have done diligently seriously work around those 5 journals, which 1, 2, 3, 5 which you have targeted, I'm sure there will be taker from 1 to 5 anywhere. Believe me, publishing FT50, A star, and A journal, I have not seen. I have to move beyond 3rd journal in my life as of now. But I will give a very important statement at the end of my part, which is also equally important. One thing is that AMJ, Academy of Management Journal, has a editorial series of publishing in his AMJ. Okay, that is exclusively written by editors. It's an editorial series in 8 pieces, and I will encourage all of you to read that. Even till date, I read those editorial series whenever I get revision. These editorial series are so useful for all of us that they are talking about what is the topic you should be picking up when you're targeting any journal. What should be your setting of hook, how to set the hook of that, so that the reader, editor, associate editor, who is going to spend not more than 5 minutes or 10 minutes on your paper, how you want to attract the attention that this paper goes through the review process. So please pay attention to those AMJ series. And 2017, Khatri et al. Has written a editorial piece in IMB Management Review Journal, common mistakes, done by early career researcher while targeting top tier journal. So I will encourage all those early career, especially doctoral student. Specifically, I also go through that editorial couple of times, or after a particular period when I see that, okay, this should be there. There are some common mistakes, which generally early career researchers do, including me as of now. One thing is that, start early. In your publishing is a very dark tunnel. Okay. And most of the time there is no light. Let me tell you very honestly. There is a light sometime, some point of time. That is very, very important. That may be 3rd year of your PhD, 4th year of PhD, even after graduating sometime, you have to wait for first paper or from your thesis. So start early. Start with multiple projects. That is also one advice if you can afford to, just assess your risk appetite, right? Whether you can afford to have multiple projects in your kitty to start with. Collaborate with your peer. That is very, very important. And that's certainly we see a missing link between. So we, as a finance scholar, I will only see finance as a finance. No. Start thinking it from strategy, economics, marketing, other perspective also. And that's how you try to bring sometime productivity very high when you are an early career researcher, and that pays you very well. Read editorial very carefully, right? Time to time, top tier journals editor write frequently about what they are looking when they are looking for a paper, right? Please pay attention to that. It changes, keeps on changing, after 3-year, 5-year time period, please have a follow on that, follow those people on LinkedIn, maybe on Twitter or maybe on other social media platform and see what they are writing. Editorial is very, very critical for any kind of researcher, even though till date, whenever I position any paper, I first see whether there is any recent editorial by that journal. I can read and get some insight of what they are looking currently, what type of topics, what type of methodology, what type of, tensions they are looking. So that is very, very important. One point which I would like to, echo with my earlier speaker has mentioned that, the hook is missing or the context is missing whenever you pay 10 minutes time as an associate editor or editor to the journal. One advice to that. So, as I said in the beginning, it's a pain to send a rejection letter, or even I write a referee report and see, the paper has so many shortcomings. Make a table. Tables are very, very important. And what table I'm talking here, to set the context why this paper is to be sellable in this particular journal. Compare 4, 5, 6 earlier study which are closely meeting to what you are doing in your particular topic, that context which you are, and then try to see what novel you are positioning in that particular paper. Be systematic in your approach. Don't be haphazard. Don't just push your paper in the 3rd or 4th year of your PhD program, because you need a window of 1 year, 2 years sometime. You may be lucky that you get your first revision in first 6 months, 3 months, or second round of, because you don't know. As I said, it's a tunnel, very dark, and most of the time there is no light. So that is another thing which you need to see. So there are many P's in this publication. And this P, which is publication, is an outcome of other P's also. Those P's are patience. Okay, pain. Okay, you have to take pain, no gain. We all know that, but that's very, very important. Persistence, keep on doing. Rejections are part of the journey. Enjoy that journey. And do not consider it as a 100-meter race, right? You have to do this for next 30 years. 35 years of your active career in academia, assumingly you are joining academia at 30. So make sure it's not a 100-meter race. All those points which I'm not repeating, be ethical in your practices, Rohit has just mentioned. They are very, very important if you want to go long in this particular, game of. And I consider, research and publication as a boxing ring, right? The moment a boxer entered in a boxing ring, he knew what are the rules of the game, where I have to hit that punch so that I get the right point. So make sure before entering to that boxing ring, which all of you are part of that now, right? Knowingly or unknowingly, by choice or by chance, please make sure that get yourself familiar with those rules very quickly, very early, so that you get nuances. You will get rejection of some time of the region which you never thought of. You feel like, hey, this is not the rejection region, but understand from editor point of view, like first journal which I just talked about, IRFA, we received 2,400 submission, and our target is only to 200 paper. So all 2,200 will be, getting that rejection letter only at the end of the day. Make sure you are not that part of that with those particular things. So that is very, very important. Try to show what tensions you are trying to solve in that particular research. That's very, very important, because sometimes you are writing a paper with a good context, with good content, but what is missing? The tension is missing. Try to bring that tension in the introduction section, as mentioned by my earlier colleague also, that bring that tension and show that tension is there. As Rohit has mentioned, what they look in introduction section, they are very, very important, and they say why this paper should go to peer review. Does it deserve to be, even seen by a reviewer, is a very, very important thing. And last thing, there is something called so what. So what if X has written a paper? How does it matter to an editor? Editor has 2,400 paper also to handle. You need to show why this paper deserves attention, why you or your reviewer or your reader. So cover letter is very, very critical. Please pay attention. Even though editor is not asking, submission portal is not asking the cover letter, do write cover letter. And cover letter is a place where you can set an informal link with the editor stating that, okay, in paper you can't talk about why this paper is important, why this is so critical. You will do it in a scientific way, but you can express how this is more critical in your cover letter. So make sure that you write a nice cover letter. There are standard template available across, For example, one journal I would like to highlight here, British Journal of Management. They always insist as a compulsory part of their cover letter what cover letter should have. Even they say that you in cover letter you need to establish why this paper is building upon the earlier paper being published in BGM or earlier related journal. So these are some of the points which initially I thought will be a starting point of the discussions. And as I mentioned, that starting early is very, very critical, because you may miss the bus by the time you finish your PhD and you don't have single paper. Remember, we are in a field where publication is considered as a criteria of entering into academia. So make sure that you start early, and not only start early, continue that journey. The data tells that, once you finish your PhD, join your first academic position, your research productivity dips to minimum. Don't make that dip to, southward, make it to northward, that should be your idea of making your research. And these are some tips which I can share with you on publishing in top tier journal. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Satish Kumar. I think you have provided some excellent advice for young research scholars. We've got two other panelists who are waiting patiently to make their presentations. And just by coincidence, both of them have the last name Rana. So I'm going to call upon Dr. Nipendra Rana, who is professor in marketing at the College of Business and Economics at Qatar University in Doha, Qatar. Now, Dr. Rana also has a very interesting background. We all talk about breaking down silos. He has actually broken down the silos because he's professor of marketing at Qatar University, but he's also been professor of information systems at Swansea University in United Kingdom. So he does a lot of interdisciplinary type of research. His current research interests focus on adoption and diffusion of ICTs, e-commerce, m-commerce, e-government, digital social media marketing, and also the role of AI in consumer decision-making. And of course, he is the editor-in-chief of a number of journals. So please take it from here, Dr. Nipendra Rana.
Thank you very much, Professor Natarajan, for a very kind introduction. And happy to see the editorial panel with diverse experience. I was earlier thinking of talking about my journal, but I don't know to what extent I should talk about that. Just to let you know that I'm a chief editor of a journal called International Journal of Electronic Government Research, which is ABDCC level journal. So probably that could be the right outlet for the researchers, particularly early career researchers who want to contribute, their early work, which matches, of course, the scope of this journal into it. In addition, I'm also the associate editor of the International Journal of Information Management, which is an ABDCA star level journal, which has an impact factor of 21. I'm also the associate editor, one of the associate editors for Journal of Computer Information Systems, and also, for the Global Journal of Flexible Systems Management. And these all are ABDCA level journal and, AB CAPS 2 star journals as well. So I just wanted to share with you about my journal, first, and what kind of paper we accept. Although, this journal, which used to be which used to be like any other journal, nowadays this has become, and for any other IGI, based journal, this is now gold open access journal. And we do understand, for the business and revenue generation perspective, the publishers are now moving into creating more revenue, and at the same time they also want to provide the readers some of these papers which are hidden and probably not coming up right in front of the the readers, in that area, because most of them are not accessible from the institutions. So they have now become, all of them are, open access, by which it provides opportunity for the readers to go through the content of these papers, and also get sight of how they can contribute and write for some of the journals. I just want to give you a little bit of glimpse about, this journal first, and then I will talk some generic information about, how to publish into one of those top journals in your area of research, which you dream to publish in. Most of the things have already been covered by the distinguished panel members, but I will also try and put some light onto the areas which I think are more important, and from the point of view of the editorial team member of some of the top tier journals in information systems and management and marketing related, the journals which publish marketing related content. So just to start off with, the International Journal of Electronic Government Research is basically a peer-reviewed multidisciplinary international journal that publishes high quality original research about the electronic government. But before you want to submit that the paper into this journal, you should also understand what electronic government is broadly, how it is broadly defined. So, for the perspective of this journal, electronic government is defined within the topics such as, but not limited to, the hardware and software technology, e-government adoption diffusion, e-government policy, e-government planning and management, e-government applications, and e-government impacts. So the journal also serves as a forum for scholars and practitioners to present theoretical and philosophical discussions on current issues relating to the practice of electronic government, or digital government for that matter. So this journal encourages submissions that reflect the wide and interdisciplinary nature of e-government as a subject, that subject and manuscripts that integrate technological disciplines with the social, contextual, and management issues. As far as the editorial philosophy and objectives of this journal is concerned, our journal aims to foster the exchange of innovative research and insights in the field of electronic government. We seek to publish high-quality original research that addresses the theoretical, practical, and technological aspects of e-government. Our objectives include advancing knowledge, promoting critical discourse, and facilitating the development of effective e-government practices and practices worldwide. As far as the review process of this journal is concerned, all submitted manuscripts undergo a rigorous peer review process to ensure scholarly rigor, relevance, and contribution to the field. Our double-blind peer review process involves experts in this area who evaluate submissions based on originality, methodological soundness, clarity of presentation, and contribution to the existing knowledge. Authors receive constructive feedback to enhance the quality of their work, and the peer review process, as you know, is the core of any reputed scholarly publishing and is the driving force for our journal as well. In terms of the review process, I can tell you that we take, although it sometimes gets delayed, but we try and get the final round of decision from this journal, within 12 weeks of time. And also we take care of the reviewer comments, and if they contradict each other or a report is delayed, an additional expert reviewer is sought, and then based on the decision in majority by the reviewers, we try and make the decision for it. Requirements and expectations for submissions for this journal. So prospective submissions should align with the scope of this journal, which the other elite members of the panel have already discussed about. So it is very, very important for the, particularly for the early career researchers to think about, whatever journal they want to submit their work, they need to first think the scope under which the journal is currently accepting the paper, and the context, the scope, and what is the current trend under which the journal promotes, even sending the papers into reviews. And when it comes to the top tier journals, as I have already said, and Professor Satish Kumar said, that given the whopping number of papers that are being submitted, it is a very rigorous task for the editor and the editorial team to manage the papers, and that is one of the reasons why most of the papers get desk reject. For example, when I talk about one of our journals, International Journal of Information Management, which is AVDC A-star journal, it is one of a kind of dream journals for most of the researchers, even the experienced researchers, and we get papers, in the range of, 7,000 to 8,000 papers a year. So with the, very manageable kind of a small team, which work toward making decisions about, whether the paper should go into the review process or should get desk reject, is made on the quality of the paper, and even the quality of the paper is judged not by going through the entire paper, because we do not have time for that. So, the kind of abstract you have written, the points that you have mentioned into introduction to motivate, the research, and whether that research fits into the scope of that journal, whether you have written paper on the timely topic, the kind of theoretical contributions that you want to present through that paper. These are the critical points that you need to think about when you write your papers, paper in a top tier journal. But nevertheless, even though it is not A-star, FT50, or A, even for B and C, because of the abundance of papers being submitted even to the relatively lower level journal like B and C, the editors nowadays are very, very selective in terms of picking up those papers which they want to put into reviews. So you need to understand the expectations of the journal and submit the papers accordingly. For example, if you are submitting your paper into this journal, even though it is ABDCC, and if it does not meet the scope and expectation of this journal, it results into desk rejection. So you need to understand whatever you are writing that should add, the theoretical value, theoretical contribution to the ongoing discourse and debate of digital government, literature. So either you should, when you are writing or targeting to write a paper, empirical paper, you have to demonstrate how you are contributing to the existing knowledge by proposing a research model that is adding value to the ongoing discussion in the digital or e-government area. You need to find out also whether you are, through the findings of your research, whether you are able to provide some concrete implications to the policy and practice. That is even more important when it comes to the journals like this, where we talk about the digital and e-government. So what are the things which you are, through your research, trying to present to the readers, to the editors, to the reviewers, which can give significance in terms of providing implications for government, for the policy makers, for practitioners. So these are very, very important, and that you can derive only when your model is novel. The findings that you are deriving through your model is providing some unique information, which is new to the policymakers and the government at large. So,
thank you, Dr. Rana. But in the interest of time, I think our audience here can interact with you.
Can I take one more minute, Professor Natarajan, just to sum it up, and also to take the audience to the couple of special issues that I have, which is probably the right platform to talk about that and also attract more and more submissions for it. I have already provided the link into the chat box here. If you can just click on it and show it to the audience so that they can, in their own time, look at these special issues and probably think of writing something for this. The first special issue is from the Communications for Association of Information System, which is ABDC A-listed journal, which where we are seeking papers about the immersive technologies and its impact on the academia and also for the practice. Whereas the second link is about the special issue, which talk about the anthropomorphism. Anthropomorphism and consumer decision making in Journal of Consumer Marketing. So thank you, Professor Natarajan. Thank you very much.
Information to be shared. Okay, I will have that.
Thank you. Thank you, Professor Natarajan.
I think we have a few minutes for Dr. Sudhir Rana for his views and his. Dr. Sudhir Rana is a professor of associate professor of marketing at.
Thank you very much.
He's Associate Professor of Marketing and Strategy and also Program Director at the College of Healthcare Management and Economics at Gulf University, United Arab Emirates. And he's editor-in-chief of 2 journals and also a series editor of a number of other publications. So can you please share with us in the next 5 minutes or so, of the editorial philosophy and your...
Yes, everything is covered, Professor Natarajan. I will be very quick and will just share some snapshots of what I understand and how I look it from myself as a scholar and as an editor. I'll put both the point of view. I'll be well. Before I begin, something that you have seen is in very common. Every one of us want a good paper which that fits into the aim and scope, theme, new, relatively new, contributing new knowledge, well written. Everything is same. I mean, all of us, all editors in the world, they want a very nuanced, novel idea and very well written paper. But other than that, let me tell you something. You need to decide what is impact for you. And scholarly journey is going to be like a limbo. It is not going to be easy. It is a roller coaster ride, and you're going to encounter a number of things. Hence, you're going to decide whether you're going to publish more into A category journals or you're going to publish impactful papers. The journal doesn't matter. You are going to create your path, and you're going to encounter a number of things. Something that you see on slide, you're going to encounter each one of it. So you are the best one who will decide what are you going to do in your academic and research life, and you will decide your impact. So considering these, when it comes, journals also want best authors to publish, and best authors wants authors also want best journals to publish their paper. But the debate is always not between best to best. The debate is always between best and fit. What suits you and what kind of author suits my journal. So you should always go with fit rather than looking at just best. Let me introduce you with FIB Business Review, which is journal. I am very pleased that this journal is kind of my brainchild in Indian journal systems. This is one of the non-business management journal coming from an emerging country like ours. And this journal has made a very significant progress in last couple of years. Something that made this journal progress is that this journal is author centric, and everything that I took charge of this journal is in training authors by letting them more know what they should do, how they should do, rather than just onboarding some established scholars in the journal. And this, they also progressed along with the journal. So this was one beauty. Today, this journal stand as a Scopus Q2, and in SciMogo also, I'm expecting it will reflect in this time, and present site score is 4.8. The journal is listed in all the listings like ABDC, ABS, and also have JCI impact factor. What I would suggest you is that as an author, we need to understand what are the further goals of the journals. There are journals that were A star, but they are nowhere in the list today. There were journals that were not in the list, they got onboarded directly. And there are, I mean, the rankings and indexings keep on changing. There are journals that decline, also get out from the databases, and there are also journals that get onboarded. So we need to always think about what are the goals of the journal, and that you can understand from the meetings like this. These are some of the goals of FIB Business Review that we kept for 2025. We would like to achieve them. We have the same process of handling the submissions like my other colleagues told you. I would like to tell you that something beyond that you should know rather than just looking at the website is like Professor Chaudhary mentioned, that most of the scholars that come to us, they are in hurry, and we want to keep them on hold and say that, okay, wait, we are also academicians, we have multiple tasks to do, so need time to read your paper back and forth. So you should see that how you should communicate with them, what are the right ways, what is the turnaround time that a journal takes, and what type of teams they publish with. There are journals, no matter how your paper is, but if the team member is not there, you will never be able to publish. And there are journals that follow um, the criteria that people from multiple countries and multiple institutions should be there. So they prefer to have international collaborations in the journal, or the specific domain collaborations in the journal, and hence you should understand what can help you out in sailing through to a publication in that journal. Well, let me tell you certain topics that we are presently seeking in FIB Business Review. These may be helpful to you. We want something on neuromarketing and machine interactions with the humans. So if you have any paper on this line, you can submit. So I'll be very quick in telling you. One planet, one health, one world means not medical, not only for the humans, but also for the animals and birds. You can consider. We are opening debate on that. Robots in service industry, this is a hot topic. I'm sure that every journal is talking about AI, machine learning, metaverse, and robots. We are also open to the same debate. Digital identity, insecurities, cyber securities, personal hacks. We are open to these debates as well. Game, if you are into gamification, blockchain related games, or any other virtual games, even the playground games. So not only the virtual games. So if you have anything related to games, open to consider that. Global virtual teams, changing cultures, diverse societies, because FIB Business Review is a multidisciplinary journal. So something is there for every domain. If you have anything related to it, we are open. Dating apps, marriage apps, we are open to it. And then ethical consideration. So if you have any paper related to these areas, we are going to give you a space. But remember that however, publishing is not a zero-sum game, but also remember that publishing is not everything. And you should patiently work on your knowledge contribution rather than just winning over a few publications. I strongly advise you to think about your team, with whom you are going to team up and why. Think about your theme that it should be passionate enough that you're going to take for the next 5 to 10 years forward, and then have your own timeline and growth. Support each other, have fun. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Rana. And I would appreciate if you could share the slides so that we can put that on the conference website for the benefit of everyone. And again, I don't want to stand between you all and lunch. So there will be Q&A, and I thank all of you for great insights. And I'm sure it was of a lot of value to the FPM and young doctoral students in terms of mapping their research strategies and also how to publish in these high impact journals. So I thank everyone for excellent panel discussion and insights they have provided. And so we break for lunch, but there will be Q&A, and the Q&A will be at lunch, okay? Because Dr. Devarun, Dr. Sahana, and Dr. Satish are going to be around, okay, for lunch. And so you can interact with them, yeah.
Thank you so much, everyone. Bye-bye.
Yes, yes, if you want, yes, you can join them again in the following session after lunch. Yes. Yeah, thank you all, and I thank you all for your participation. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor Natarajan. Thank you, all the panelists.
Okay. All right.
Thank you, everyone. I request Professor Natarajan to please felicitate our speakers. Professor Sahana Roy Chaudhary, ma'am. Professor Debarun Chakrabarti. And Professor Satish Kumar. I extend our verbal gratitude to our online speakers as well. Thank you. We shall meet post lunch.
2:30, yeah. So it's a shortened lunch break. We have reduced it by 12 minutes. We will again meet here at 2:25. So we have a session, interesting session lined up, developing high impact journals in India, and followed by the case study workshop. So please come back, be seated here by 2:25 p.m. Sorry for the inconvenience caused.
That's what happens when you accommodate people in the last minute. Yeah, I know, but it went up.
You managed that.
Okay.
Within those 65 minutes, nothing better.